what if you could make a promise that was literally impossible to break? Not just because you have good intentions, but because the promise itself was locked into a system that just couldn't be broken. That is the huge idea behind blockchain. And honestly, it has the power to change, well, pretty much everything. Think about it for a second. Almost everything you do all day long is based on an agreement. The power for your computer, that's a promise from the utility company. The money in your bank account, that's their promise to you that it's safe. Our whole world is just this giant tangled web of promises.
So we have to put a ton of trust in other people and in big institutions, hoping they'll do the right thing. But what happens when that trust gets broken? What happens when the promise isn't kept?
Let me give you a perfect real-world example. Remember the McDonald's Monopoly game? They ran this massive promotion, and the promise was simple. Buy your food, and you'll get a fair shot at winning up to $1 million. Sounds great, right?
Yeah, well, that promise was a total lie. Turns out, a small group of insiders had rigged the entire game from behind the scenes, siphoning off about $24 million for themselves. The system was centralized, it was controlled by a few people, and it completely failed. This is the exact kind of weakness, the exact kind of broken trust that blockchain was invented to fix.
So what is this thing really? At its heart, a blockchain is just a new kind of record book. You can think of it like a community notebook that's shared with everyone, or maybe a digital diary that everyone involved can see and check for themselves. Okay, let's unpack that definition a little. First, it's distributed. That means there isn't just one copy. The ledger is spread out across tons of computers. Second, it's unchangeable. Once you write something in it, it's there forever. You can't erase it. And third, it's open. Anyone with access can look at the whole thing, which means you have total transparency. And this is the night and day difference. See, the traditional way is like having one single notebook that a bank or a company controls. It could be changed, it could be lost, but with blockchain, you have thousands of identical copies all over the world. And since no single person is in charge, trying to cheat the system becomes incredibly hard. So this new kind of notebook isn't just different, it's built from the ground up to be super secure. It has these special rules baked right in that make it almost impossible to tamper with. So how does it pull that off? Its security really comes down to 3 key ideas, these 3 pillars that all work together. You've got decentralization, which means there's no single weak spot to attack. Then you have cryptography, which basically seals every single entry with a unique digital fingerprint. And finally, consensus, which means the whole group has to agree before anything new gets added. It's a team effort. Now, this is where the chain part of blockchain comes in, and it's genius. Every new block of information gets its own unique fingerprint, right? But here's the kicker. It also contains the fingerprint of the block that came right before it. This creates this super strong, unbreakable link between all the blocks, one after another. That chain is the secret sauce to its security. So let's play this out. What if a hacker tries to go back in time and sneakily change something that was written in that shared notebook? What would happen? Okay, here's how the system defends itself. The second a hacker messes with even one tiny detail in an old block, bam, the digital fingerprint of that block changes instantly, and that shatters the chain. Because it no longer matches the fingerprint stored in the next block, the whole network sees this broken link immediately and just rejects the fake version. The attack is dead in the water. I mean, to actually force a fake change to go through, you would have to somehow hack and take control of more than half of all the computers on the network, all around the world, all at the same time. For a big blockchain, it's basically considered impossible. But this is where it gets really mind-blowing. This tech is about so much more than just money or recording who paid who. It's about creating agreements that simply cannot be stopped. We call them smart contracts. The vending machine analogy is perfect. You put your dollar in, that's the condition, and the machine is programmed to give you a soda. That's the automatic execution. You don't trust the owner of the machine, you just trust its code. Smart contracts do exactly that for all kinds of agreements. No middleman needed. For example, think about our food. Imagine being able to track a head of lettuce from the exact field it was picked, to the truck, to the warehouse, all the way to the grocery store shelf. Big companies like Walmart are already using blockchain to do this, so they can trace the source of a problem in seconds, not weeks. Or what about your personal data, your digital identity? Instead of giant companies holding all your information, with blockchain, you could be in control. You could grant specific permissions for who gets to see what and when. And in a place where trust is absolutely everything, like voting, you could use blockchain to create a system that's totally transparent and tamper-proof, where every single vote is recorded on that unchangeable ledger for all to see. So when you zoom out and you put all of these pieces together, you start to see that blockchain isn't just a new piece of software. It's really a fundamental shift in how we build trust itself.
This is the big idea right here. We're moving away from what you could call brand-based trust, where you're just hoping a company keeps its word, and we're moving towards math-based trust. This is a world where you know a promise will be kept because it's enforced by open, verifiable code that doesn't have feelings or ulterior motives. With this kind of technology, doing the right thing isn't just a choice people make, it can be built into the very infrastructure of how we interact. The system is designed from the start to make sure promises are kept every single time. So that leaves us with this one huge question. If our most important agreements, our money, our property, even our votes, were all built on promises that could not be broken, what would that world really look like? What could we build? That's the future blockchain is pointing towards, one block at a time.